one thing about the podcasting, since you've known me, right? There are things that I've seen that I'm like, this is going to catch on. Remember?
Yeah.
Like I was telling you years ago, Eddie, this podcast thing is going to blow up.
And it has.
Dude, it just, even more than, and like, it's, you know how you know when it blows up? When you're listening to it, you're going to iTunes or whatever, you're checking out all these podcasts, and you're at work, you're talking to somebody, and somebody's like, hey, have you checked out this podcast? Like these podcasts that somebody was cluing me into. I'm going to give them a shout out. It's one's called Espionage and one's called Kingpins.
Okay.
And really good podcast. I love them. But the Kingpins one is really cool because it's talking about like all these like people that were on top of the drug game. They were on top of the whatever, right? But here's where it's funny. You listen to them, and it's like, this is what podcast starting out as was this just raw, long form conversations, whatever. Think of Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
The godfather of podcasting. That's how it all started. But now you're hearing it like on Kingpins, and then they'll be telling the story, and then they'll say, and after this break, we'll talk about blah 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 blah. So they're starting to introduce that commercial stuff, and a part of me is just dying, because as soon as you start introducing commercials like that, the advertisement, as soon as the advertisers jump on board, that's when I think the death spiral starts to.
It becomes more a commercial, and I see what you're saying. It's kind of like the start of a sinking ship in a way when that gets involved. I feel like the only way to make this relevant or just have it going for a good while, have it be organic. Let's have these conversations without having to, have it be commercial at the same time, and sure, like having sponsorships where like, I wouldn't say like I would not say nor shoot down the idea of having any sponsors.
Sure.
Like, sure, we'll have some items here. Like, if anybody wants to send us some, you're more than welcome to. We'd give them a shout out, show their product here, but it's us saying it. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have someone coming else commercial and then roll the tape.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think being organic and just have it where just in its original format would be the best way to go, in my opinion.
I think you're dead on with that, because like if it's, if we find a sponsor, someone's like, hey, I think this will go really good with that, and then we can throw it in there. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
What else was going to say? Going back to music, owning rights. Prince was all about that.
Yeah.
That's and I didn't know too much of him. I mean, people are probably going to be like, how can you not heard of Prince? I've heard a couple of his like songs, but I'm more interested in the person himself, because he was a unique individual, right?
Very eclectic, yeah.
He changed his name to a symbol. It's like you don't hear that much of it, but he wanted to be different. Maybe he just wanted to stand out from the crowd, which is cool. I'm all about being different, just standing out. But he was one of the things he was really open about and talking and just being open with people when they asked him about, his owning his masters and all this stuff. Well, you got to think about it. That's a huge deal. You own all your masters. Nobody else can touch your music. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with it. And that's one of the things.
Full control.
Yeah. That's one of the things he was all about. You own your art. That belongs to you. Nobody does.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's one thing I can say that people should kind of look at that as an example too. He fought for that. Like he's like, there's no way you're owning everything that I've done, so in a way, like Prince was kind of, we should throw him in there in the sense of like his way of thinking about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Go standing up against all these big record companies and thinking that they're just going to run away with this stuff and that's it, not leaving with anything. No,
Here's where I wish that that Congress or legislators could get involved with the music industry. I want, because here, think about it. There's a lot of predatory practices going on. If this were the housing market, what it is it's someone basically, it's the same deal as giving you a lease to own home. They're saying, yeah, you can lease this home, and you're going to be paying me 50% rent and 50% on the mortgage. Whereas a real loan is you're paying the bank, you're paying the interest, and but you're paying the principal as well. Well, with this, you're paying somebody just the right to live in that house. Yeah. And then a little bit you get to keep. Sorry, that's that Corona. Wouldn't be a Tip Touch podcast without a burp like that.
It's giving me a little bit of a Gas too. I'm trying to hold it in a little
Yeah,
bit.
you're
Though.
better than me.
But you're right. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. So there's so many predatory practices that the industry has gotten away with for years now.
Yeah.
That like Taylor Swift. Did you see what she's doing?
No, what's she doing?
Taylor Swift is so she lost all of her original music, all of her old music.
Oh, really?
To Kanye's old manager.
What?
And they had a big feud, and it was a mess, right? So you know what she's doing? She's like, all right. She went gangsta. She's like, fuck you as a staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew. You want to keep my music? Fuck you too. She's going out and she's recording all of her original music, all of her old music, just re-recording it, doing it, and then she's going to own it herself.
Wow.
So they'll have the masters of the original
songs,
but she's going to re-record them, and she's going to own the rights to her own song.
Oh. So is that like a loophole that you can go around of?
I guess so. But think about it. It shouldn't be. She wanted to buy her own music back, and they're like,
no way. Huh. Interesting.
So there's just so many, like the artists themselves, the ones that are creating the culture.
Yeah.
They have so many people pecking at them, just eating everything. And then by the time, then you wonder why all these artists are broke. That was what the whole thing with TLC was to begin with L.A. Reid and all that shit back then was they were like, we are selling #1 album, Crazy Sexy Cool, and we are broke. Yeah. We are broke. And enough is enough. The shit hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And so now people are wising up to that. But here's where it gets tricky. You talk about Prince being able to do that, right? Mm. Some people have that vision. Some people get it.
Yeah.
But a majority of people, hey man, where are these kids coming from? They're poor.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have the money. They don't have the inside skills, knowledge, and all of that about the industry. So they're just trusting whoever. And if you got this smiling guy, hey kid, I'll take you under my wing and we'll make you a big star.
Yeah.
And then they're going to trust him because all of a sudden, they get a $2,000 little check and, they get to do whatever. Yeah. Meanwhile, this guy that just signed you just got a $20,000 check and gave you 10% of it.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
That happens a lot. I feel like I always heard about that, like just in random interviews I hear, it's always, referring to just them getting screwed out of it. Yeah. And it's like, it's sad to see because it's like the advantage that they get taken under of. It's like, it's insane. But again, we're going with how everything's evolving, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's starting to be independent. You see a lot of all these younger cats being independent and releasing their stuff themselves on Spotify and iTunes. And I applaud them because that's really the next wave to go now, being independent.
No shit.
Yeah. So,
but it's hard, and I think that as it does take those visionaries to show everybody else. And, that's a cool thing. Like as many predators as there are, there's a lot of good people out there. There you will have your Pox, you will have your Dames, you will have your Nips. You know what I mean? And then hey, if people want to kill them, take them out of the game, there's more.
Yeah.
They don't die. They multiply.
Yeah, man. I mean, they planted the seeds, dude. And I feel like that's what people see when they go through these situations that, they run with that idea and we're going to stick to that. We're going to keep this going. I mean, these guys aren't here no more physically, but their mindset, like their ideas, the ideas are forever living. And
Eternal.
That's more than enough, dude.